Trauma? What trauma? I haven't had trauma. No, I had a great childhood. Okay, all right, yeah. And maybe you did, right? But there's a fascinating question sometimes I say to people where I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm kind of seeing some dysregulation in the nervous system, and that could be all sorts of reasons for that. The question I often ask sometimes when people are struggling with that is, okay, so would you be happy if your children were put into the environment that you grew up in? Hell no. Tell me, why not? And then we start getting somewhere. Now, in another video, we'll talk about trauma's not what happened to you. You know, I can't change anybody's childhood. I can't change anything that's happened to anybody. Many of the things that I'm dealing with, awful things that have happened to people, I can't undo those events. But what we can do is change how the body responds to that now, based on those experiences. And not always, you know, people can have good enough childhoods. And here's the thing, right? A compassionate piece. No one gets through life without trauma, okay? It's part of life. It's a buzzword right now. Yeah, the whole world's talking about trauma, you know. But how experiences of overwhelm affect our body is something I've been working with for 20 years now. Yeah, before trauma became a buzzword. I had a colleague a lovely guy, worked for me for a long time, and he sort of joked one day and he said, "Well, it's probably in the childhood, Roger. Why is it always in the childhood?" And I said, "Well, look, it's because it's where we develop our nervous system's patterning of how we deal with stuff, how we deal with aggression, how we deal with conflict. Those things help us to process our emotions. We learn from our parents. Yeah, let's not go. This is not parent bashing. All right, this is not parent bashing, you know, and we all, I'm a parent, I'm damn sure I've messed up in some ways. Yeah, but we just hope that if we're conscious parents, that, you know, maybe we can either repair that or we can be more conscious as we go through our lives to continue to be in relation with our children and everybody else. So it's not about parent bashing because none of us are getting it absolutely right. And of course, the reason that any of us, our parents, were the way they were usually is with compassion because of their experiences in their life and potentially their childhood. So we can't change their childhood, but what can we do? We can see how it's had an impact, yeah, in the way that the person responds now. And that's also in their physiology. We can look at ACE scores. You know, I've done other videos on ACE scores, and we know beyond a shadow of a doubt the correlation between adverse childhood experiences and disease processes in later life. Yeah, the influence of dysregulation of the nervous system on the gut microbiome, which of course is also huge right now. Yeah, the body responds in a way that it has learnt to adapt to an overwhelming situation, and that's the essence of it. And so we've all had some kind of trauma in our childhood, and that's very often where we learn the patterning. So it's sometimes useful to understand a little bit about that. Invariably, the people that think they've had an absolutely fine childhood and will go, "No, I will not hear a bad word said about my mother or my father." Well, okay, now we really need to start, you know, okay, well, we're not going to go probing there because you don't want to go there, but it tells me, oh, there definitely was, you know, because no one's perfect. Yeah, and if we want to put them on a pedestal, then that rings some alarm bells to me too. Just an interesting question, you know. How would you be with your own children being in the environment you were? And maybe you'd go, you know what, that would be all right because it was good enough. You know, it wasn't brilliant. Okay, well then we're seeing the warts and all, and we're going, yeah, it was pretty good. All right. Well, but was there any part? So maybe it's not that. Maybe there's something else that's causing this. Maybe it's even transgenerational. Yeah. Which was before them. Yeah. There's all sorts of spaces for trauma to come out, and it's curious and interesting as to where it's come from, but ultimately all we've got to deal with is the here and the now. And what can we do to shift it and its response in the body now? Hi, I'm Roger. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons.